Hi everyone! The Amazon show, The Boys, is great, and I believe it has one of the best representations of today's social media and media landscape. Today we'll explore why The Boys has the best version of these elements. I'll go in order of seasons so you won't get spoiled if you have not finished season 4 of The Boys. Then after that, I'll do a wrap up and a few other points. In season 1 of The Boys, it is clear that this show criticizes the idea of superhero movies. The Billy Butcher intro is a satirization of how superhero movies are just pushed out rapidly, how merchandised superheroes are, and how many idols are just bad people. Vaught and A-Train's response indicates what happens when social media influencers get caught or when companies are held accountable. They give a response for PR points but don't actually say or do anything to fix the core issue. A great example is Mr. Beast, who only responded about Ava Tyson but has not responded about the allegations surrounding himself. Now Mr. Beast is collabing with infamous YouTuber Logan Paul with many controversies involving that creator. Later in the episode, Huey has to get to the Vought Tower to sneak in a bug, and right before Huey goes in, Butcher makes a Matrix reference. He messed up the reference by swapping the red and the blue pill. I think this is a reference to how people like Andrew Tate and others take the message of the Matrix and swap it from the creator's interpretation, which in this case are the Wachowski sisters. In episode 2, there's a kid with cancer who wants Translucent to say hello to him, and Translucent can't show up to fulfill the kid's wish. Instead, A-Train comes in, and it goes bad fast, with A-Train saying some bad lines and trying to cheer up the kid, and the kid says, quote, "You'll teach me how to outrun cancer?" This whole part just stems back to how some celebrities are not good people in real life. This scene was set in some sort of Instagram Live like social media thing, and this scene screams how much this scenario backfired for Vought and A-Train. This goes back to how poorly some big YouTubers or streamers do these live streams sometimes. You can see this especially when creators are doing apologies. A lot of them backfire. Episode 2 is the first time we see Vought News Network, which is a satire of Fox News in real life. This Fox News comparison will grow stronger as we get further along in The Boys. That wraps up season 1 for the most part in terms of this video. Most of it is a foundation for the later seasons. When discussing The Boys Season 2, it is almost impossible to not bring up Stormfront. Stormfront is such an interesting character that I might make a separate video diving into Stormfront as a whole later. In episode 1 of season 2, there is a reenactment of Butcher detonating the bomb from season 1 episode 8, which is quite a bit off from reality. Media tends to skew things sometimes in the way of the person in the wrong being painted as them being the good person, when maybe it's more nuanced or complex. I find it fascinating that the show makes the effort to make these realistic parts of television and social media, and it does so well at doing it. In episode 1, we see Stormfront come in with their phone, and on her phone is Instagram Live. Stormfront in this season comes off as a very extroverted millennial woman. Stormfront is a character that is sort of clinically online and uses social media to its full advantage. In episode 2, we get a fake yet maybe improv conference about Stormfront joining the Seven and about girl power. We get Stormfront to call it the quote girl power by talking about how the suits for women in the Seven have suits that show off a lot of skin and how there is no pockets. This is referencing when corporations say, quote, women's power or, quote, girl power, but also do not stick to the morals needed to fully be on that side. They say it to appeal to that demographic. While real change doesn't actually occur, it is just a facade. In episode 3 of season 2, we get the big news that Compound V is the thing that makes regular people into superheroes. This is when the big scandal comes out and takes down Vought by a notch. Usually, when one scandal happens, then people usually get more skeptical after that point. As the series goes on, more things come out like some ships sinking. Once one part is blasted through, it opens the doors for more issues. In episode 4, an interview with Homelander and Queen Maeve is shown. The host comments on the public reception that diversity in Vought, superheroes, and the Seven is not quite enough. This is where Homelander publicly announces that Queen Maeve is a lesbian. Homelander uses the media as a way for him to uncover the lies in a very public manner, to tell the truth to as many people as he can and supposedly punish that lie. Also, Homelander might be homophobic, randomly outing someone's sexuality without their permission to. In another part of episode 4, we see Stormfront use her personality and memes to get a new audience. Homelander gets mad at this because Stormfront is doing a lot and it pays off for her going in this different direction. The way Stormfront tears down apart Vought to be able to attract a new audience is like what Amazon does with The Boys as well. It's funny because Amazon is a super capitalistic corporation and basically a monopoly. The Boys, though, is a show that is a satire and points at the issues of capitalism and shows how horrible it can get if the ones in the company have biological superpowers gifted to them. The Boys calls out stuff like what Amazon does, so people who dislike Amazon to some extent do like The Boys. At the start of episode 5, we see a clip of a movie where Maeve says she is gay. The way Vought Studios instantly uses this as a way to make the company seem more diverse is so funny and true. Later on, in episode 5, a clip gets out where Homelander kills a terrorist recklessly. This is when a protest against Vought and Homelander happens. Homelander then tried to speak to them and that didn't work. So Stormfront made propaganda-level meme posts. This really imitates political memes and messaging that have been happening in the US, where many posts and memes are trying to sway people in certain directions. In episode 8 is when we get the news of Stormfront being a Nazi. We see what happens in real life when people make videos, talk about it, and discuss it online. Also, the news gets spread on a CNN parody called, quote, NNC. Usually for people, the downfall of a bad, powerful person is nice because that is one step in the right direction. Season 3 is where things get really amped up here in terms of the messaging and things that happen that we maybe see to a lesser extent in the real world. In the beginning of episode 1, season 3, we have the premiere of Dawn of the Seven. This show does so well at switching from the regular movie mode to having it show the live news footage. In the middle of episode 1, we see the introduction of Supersonic in the quote, American Hero reality TV show, which is not actually reality TV. I just love Supersonic as a character in The Boys, and it shows some of the positive entertainment inside this world that they build, and it's just so nice. At the end of episode 1, there is a TV segment showing that people are rallying together over Stormfront and her old ideology. It is scary, but not far off from reality as well. In episode 4, the infamous A-Train protest ad is here. This is a parody of the infamous 2017 Pepsi protest ad and shows that companies don't actually care about causes, but they want to seem like they do, so the ratings go up. This is so funny comparing the real Pepsi ad with the A-Train parody. They put a ton of effort into the small details, which makes the ad look more realistic. I like that in episode 5, we get some footage of the Russians testing out Soldier Boy's technology. The World Wars and the Cold War happening during when superheroes are around would make sense as another part of the war. A kind of space race for the superheroes maybe. Who can make the strongest or learn from the other side the most? At the end of episode 6, the Instagram live format with Starlight exposing the truth is really impactful due to it being at the very end of the episode, therefore holding so much power. Later after that, Annie steals more Compound V and does another Instagram live with a conversation with Homelander. Annie uses his social media and live stream power as a weapon against Homelander. In season 4, we start to see Sage and Firecracker, and season 4 is quite explosive with the messaging, mirroring how in the real world, social media has polarized everything to such a great extent. Season 4 is by far the best to show the extremes that happen in social media and the world. This might be a bit political, but I think the politicalness that is portrayed and parodied makes the show more down to earth and realistic. I'll try not to go too in depth because I don't like everything being political, although a lot of movies and TV are political in some way or another. In episode 1, we see how they spark a fight between the two sides, the Home Teamers versus the Starlighters. This mirrors some of the protest culture we have in the United States. In episode 2, we have Ryan's first save. Something I really like in The Boys is that the superheroes actually have powers, yet they stage and act so many things so they can have a profitable business. I just really like how the superhero part and the capitalism part intersect in The Boys. In episode 2 is when we get the convention with a ton of conspiracy theories. It is named, quote, TruthCon. They nailed the set design to make this feel like a real conspiracy-based convention. This seems like some realistic convention of people led into conspiracy thinking. In episode 3, we get to see Tournament of Heroes played by Ryan and Butcher, a game about superheroes fighting each other, basically Mortal Kombat. I loved this scene, and this is something I remember a lot. I wish we got more scenes of VOD-based video games. Marvel and DC have so many different games out there that there should be more gaming in this show. I also wish we could eventually get an actual The Boys game. Amazon even makes games too. It would just be really interesting to play through this world in the game. In episode 5, we have the VOD Expo with phases 7 through 19. During this is when they announced a new studio, VOD Faith. By the way, 7 through 19, that's just crazy. That's insane. That's just silly. We see kind of a link between the conspiracy thinking and religious parts here because they're both being like amped up in this season. I feel like that's quite realistic to real life, though this is kind of just my opinion on it. At the start of episode 7, there's a kid song with Ryan and the Puppets for Christmas. The crazy part is that it's very political. It is very extreme with its message. This hints at kids' political media such as PragerU with visuals from the Muppets or Sesame Street. I just find this moment really intense because they're making this very loaded musical kids type content. It just shows how different the start of The Boys is compared to where we are in season 4. In episode 8, we see Homelander out Victoria Newman in public as a soup. It is quite similar to the way Queen Maeve got outed publicly. This is another way Homelander used television to out someone and have power over the situation despite the results. Social media is so realistic in The Boys because it actually uses the same apps we do use in real life. In season 3, Butcher used Amazon to buy the Connect 4 game they play. It is a small self-promo for Amazon, but a real-life app nonetheless. Ryan and Butcher used Skype together in season 3 to see each other as well. In seasons 3 and 4, Starlight and Firecracker both use Instagram. And finally, Butcher uses Twitter to post that Firecracker had done some, well, horrible things. So since they use the actual apps, that is one point towards a realistic social media landscape. Otherwise, you would have GTA 5, where they have slightly different versions of the real thing. I can't mention The Boys and media without drawing the comparison that Homelander really depicts Donald Trump. Some of the things he says line up exactly to what Homelander says in the show. I'll even play a clip to show you.
Congresswoman Newman, what do you say to the Americans who are watching right now and feeling scared?
Yeah, look, it's understandable.
What kind of a nasty question is that?
Oh, no, it's fine. I'm happy to wait.
As Starlight just said, and I keep saying, this is not a problem.
I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean...
don't have time for your mediocre ambush.
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so, in such a horrible manner, the first question. You don't even say, hello, how are you?
I would love if you can answer the question on your rhetoric and why you believe
I have
that
answered
Black
the
folks-
question.
Homelander is a celebrity in the film industry, and so is Trump. Homelander wants to be sort of the president, and so does Trump. It's almost crazy not to compare the two, and Trump has for sure changed social media and has shaped it to be what it is today. For a final point, The Boys just shows capitalism so well. The United States is filled with capitalism and products around us. If you go on social media right now, you probably will see ads. If you go outside right now, I'm sure if you live in a city or a big population area, you can see a lot of billboards and advertisements around your city. So basically, capitalism and advertisements are everywhere in the real world, and that is in the US. I don't know about other places, but The Boys takes place in the US. We specifically see this when Kimiko has A-Train drinks and Maeve popsicles. The biggest example is in the first episode when Huey sees A-Train products all around his store right after A-Train killed Robin. I think the deep connection to products that are in our world and the Boys universe makes the social media and world more realistic. So, that is my video on the social media of The Boys. It's been a while without me making a video. A part of that's due to college, a part of that is my procrastination, and a part of it is how complex this video even is. But I am happy to finally get this video hopefully out. Anyway, like if you like, dislike, subscribe if you want, and bye.